So our last speaker today, as you can see in the program, is Cody Fongemie. Got it right? I'm Irish. He's Italian. We'll probably get along. Cody is the chairman of the Coastal Carolina Conservatives, a group him and some of his college buddies started back in the spring of 2015. So pretty new group. Pretty new, getting started there. As you can tell, we've got the old folks over here, the new guy over here, and that's for a reason. Joe and I and Jerry and a core group of other volunteers have been doing this for our 5th year. So this has really been interesting. So we kind of like to stand off to the side and look at Cody and say, hey, maybe we had an impact. And we appreciate that, he's taken the lead at his school, doing some great stuff. And hopefully him and his friends will be up here running a much more efficient program. But before we throw it over to Cody, Jerry and I had one thing we wanted to recognize. We've worked with this man for a long time. Jerry gets to see him every week. I only get to see him once or twice a year, not living in the same state. But we had something we wanted to we remember you by, and I wanted you to be able to hang that up in your room or in your house just to remember this conference by. So it's a picture of himself. Sure.
As many of you know, I don't know if there's anybody that I've called more, cried more, said, I can't handle it anymore, Joe, I can't handle it. So he's had to put up with me for many, many, many years. There's been times when I just needed somebody to talk to. I would get upset about what's happening with the country. I'd get upset about thinking what my grandchildren were going to have to grow up into. And so Joe's been there for me for seems like 30 years. But anyway, we've worked very, very hard on this convention, and I want to say thank you all for sticking with us for so many years. I see so many of my, I call them my peeps, my people that we've worked together for so long. You guys get it. Again, thank you for coming. But I do want to say that we are all very blessed to have somebody like Joe Dugan that's been leading us for many years, and Peter that lives up in Washington. And there's many times that we've had to talk late at night or message each other, or Joe would call me late at night when the website would go down. There's been many times that our website, we'd have so much traffic on it, it would crash. And so I think three of us have put together probably some of the best conventions ever. And I've seen many, been to many, been in Washington. But I can tell you this year probably has been my favorite ever, because I've seen some people that have sacrificed. They've traveled. There's some people that we had some people coming from Alaska. We've had people coming from Florida, Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York. But I see the same faces. They keep continuously coming back. So I think that these folks will be with us for many, many years. And I think Joe thought, well, maybe this would be the last year. But I think we've.
What I said was that next January, I want to be at the inauguration.
Well, I know we've got some very good candidates, and I hope, Joe, that we'll be going there together. Anyway, we want to thank you guys, but we've got some of our youth that we'd like to make sure that we save some energy for them. And please stay. Cody's one of our up-and-coming superstars in the field of politics. Anyway, I want to welcome Cody back to the stage. There you go.
So while we leave, he finishes. Good night.
Just give me a second to get settled. Hi, everybody. I've been introduced. They introduced me, but I'm Cody Fongemie. I'm the chairman of the Coastal Carolina Conservatives. I'm currently a junior at Coastal Carolina University, right down the road in beautiful Conway, and I'm a political science major with a minor in intelligence and national security. So it's a little bit of an interesting field I'm going into. But I've been blessed to be raised by a family that emphasizes family values in a hard day's work. And those family values started to put me on a path towards conservatism. But what really got me there was my love of history. As a kid, I went through book after book about America's founding and world history. And by doing that, I saw the values of limited government, economic freedom, the freedom of speech, a strong national defense, and a government by the people and for the people. The founders had a vision for our nation, and I saw that vision, and I saw how that vision provided every American with amazing opportunities. So, being a conservative on a college campus is a little bit of a challenging thing because college campuses are kind of liberal think tanks of America. I live with it every day. So I started to wonder why there wasn't a good student organization that brought young conservatives together, but also educated other conservatives, other students, on why conservatism is the best path for us to have a prosperous and free future. So after this very convention last year, me and my good friend sat down and came up with a plan to build such an organization. We found a great advisor, and from there we went from 2 members to 5 members to 10 members. In the fall, we grew to 25 members, and just last Tuesday, we had 20 people sign up to come to our interest meeting. So we've essentially gone from 2 to about 45 within a year. We're very happy with that. So we are now the largest political organization on our campus. The Coastal Progressives have about 5 people. The College Republicans have about 6 people. So we've grown really rapidly and really fast for a few reasons. One of those reasons is we have a very clear objective. The objective of our organization is to make known and promote free trade economics, strong national defense, conservative values, and all forms of conservatism among the students on our campus. And that key phrase is all forms of conservatism. We have libertarians, we have some just straight Republicans, we have some Tea Partiers, we have everything, and it brings us all under one roof where we can think together and work together to stop different things from happening on campus, like the Hillary people who lasted about a week on campus before we kept questioning them about Benghazi and they left. So that makes us successful. What truly helps us out is the model we use. We engage the student body by using social media and activities on campus. After engaging them, we educate them on the issues, the real issues, and we educate them on conservatism. Following up, that empowers them to use that knowledge to stand up for their beliefs in an educated manner and to engage other students. So it's a never-ending cycle in a way. By engaging, educating, and empowering millennials, we are winning the fight against the left on our campus. And we can do this nationally using this model. But we need to be encouraging millennials to learn about conservatism and take a stand. The constant rhetoric that's being pushed by the media that millennials don't work, we have zero desire to work and all we like is free stuff, is absolutely false. I can say that every millennial in my organization wants to work, likes to work, and does a hard day's work. I can testify to that when I see on every political campaign in South Carolina right now for the presidential elections that millennials make up the backbones of many of this organization, and they're going out and door knocking. I can see at college where I have friends who work really hard to put food on the table and pay for school. And I can see it back home where my 17-year-old brother is a volunteer fireman. They can't tell us that we don't like to work hard because we do, and you can't let a small minority paint us what we are. So the media and the left, what has essentially happened is they're telling us that the only way that we can be successful is by taking these free handouts like free college tuition, like some people running for president right now keep saying that we need to have, is our only option to be as successful as our grandparents or our parents. But when we sit our fellow students down and we explain to them the long-term costs that will have on our economic future, it's really funny how they don't think that's a great idea anymore. So, and then we explain the burden of the national debt which our generation's getting. And when I checked the clock this morning, it was around 18 trillion, and that's without the interest. They always leave out the interest on that clock, so I guarantee you it's some astronomical number. And then everyone's like, oh no, we're in trouble. And the left wants to keep doing this, dooming my generation and future generations. But that's not how they sell it. They sell it as you're gonna get a free college tuition and you're never gonna have to worry about paying for it. They forget to leave out the taxes, the rate. So we explain that to our fellow students, and they agree with us the spending needs to stop. And we need to support efforts to stop that spending. You can elect officials who promote limited government, or you can support a balanced budget amendment. Things like that will help my generation do a little better in the future. That's not the only economic issue we're facing. We have this thing called the massive student debt crisis that my generation also has. We think that we seem to like debt for some reason, but basically what's happening is that's a huge issue. There's so many factors that go into that, and I could stay here all day and talk about national debt. It's kind of become my slice of the cake because it's really relevant, and that's how I relate to my students is I walk them with the national debt, and then we talk about different issues. But it's just a little piece on the mountain of crisis that my generation's been so graciously given by the generations at power right now in the U.S. Congress. From the foreign policy that's been destroyed overseas, to so many domestic issues, to what's going on in our own streets in America. My father's a part-time policeman, and I see what happens. He tells me that, hey, it's kind of a bad deal out there right now. I have many friends who are police officers, and they're like, it's not that safe on the streets anymore. So we have domestic issues, foreign policy issues, economic issues, and all of those have been piled on my generation. And that's some people, I think this last convention, one of the presidential contenders who wasn't running for president yet, but they soon would be, referred to my generation as a lost generation. That's what people were calling us. And it really sunk in deep, and I don't like that term at all. Because I don't see a lost generation. I see a generation that could get America back on track. A savior generation, as you will. But in order to do this, we need your help. We need you to encourage millennials to get involved. And don't be like, hey, you need to be a conservative Republican. Be like, hey, how about you read this book about free trade economics? Or hey, just read the news. Simple things like that will start to get people involved. I mean, and that's the biggest thing. I'm the youngest guy. I thought I was the youngest guy in this room today. Then I saw this guy over here, and I was a little excited. I'm like, yeah, that's great. So that's really important. Getting people involved. Just be supportive. Be like, here, read this article. It can go a long way. I wouldn't be where I am right now if my grandfather didn't put history book after history book on my desk. But we need your help. We need to also elect officials that actually plan for the future, who just aren't being calculated on their next election, who actually have a plan for our nation's future. And then, like I said, we need to get the millennials involved and educate them on the real issues. Not what's going on Twitter. Twitter is important, but not what's going on like with the celebrities. Like, more millennials are concerned about what's happening with the Kardashians than they're concerned about what's happening with our national debt. If we show them what's at risk, they'll come over and they'll read about that and they'll learn and they'll get involved. And it will give us, if you do all that and support us and tell us, hey, read that article, it's going to give us a chance. Give us a chance when my generation gets to govern. I'm telling all my friends that we need to get involved in politics a lot sooner than our generations. And our organization has shown that. Our organization is showing that. It's 25 kids and potentially 20 more who are involved, and they read, and they want to be involved. So I pray that we are able to save my generation's American dream. When my members of my generation open our eyes, we do great things. We've done a lot. We've advanced technology a lot. There's so many millennial entrepreneurs, and they don't get enough credit because they're everywhere. But we need your, like I said, we need your support. Because it isn't just my generation's American dream, it's the future generations. Look to the future. Because it's not about you or you or you or you. It's not about me. It's about what we leave behind for future generations. And I plan, and my generation plans, on leaving the generations that come after us in a better situation than we were left in. And we plan on keep fighting for our American dream and keep fighting to make this nation better. Thank you very much. I'm very honored to stay here and speak with you all.